Blog Talk Radio.
The following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add groove to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. The 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think he may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio with your host, Mark Angelo Cummings.
And your hostess, Jessica Lynn Cummings.
The show for trans folks by trans folks, here to let your voice be heard. Well, hello and good evening. My name is Mark Angelo Cummings. I'm your host for this evening.
And I am Jessica Lynn Cummings, your hostess. Tonight's show is being broadcast live from Collins, Georgia at Roy's Hideaway. We wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors, thebreastformstore.com. They have everything you can imagine to enhance your feminizing needs.
And Dr. Varden Magadosian, a facial feminization specialist based out of Jupiter, Florida. Please visit our website and click on their banner, show them your support, and tell them Transition Radio sent you. It's funny, we're out here in the middle of the wilderness, and they're doing construction in the pool area, and it's been annoying all day. I'm like, really, you can't even find peace out in the woods.
It was so funny. When we were living in Wilton Manor, it was all Mark ever did was, you could hear the lawnmowers, the sirens, the this, the that, and he's like, oh, it sucks all the time. And I said, well, you can't get away from it anywhere. So we go way out in BFE, and here we are, listening to saws and all kinds of craziness.
I know, it's like, I can't get away from the termite people. It's, if you guys want to call in and share your comments, ask questions, join in the discussion, please do so. The number to call in is 646-716-6895. Again, that's 646-716-6895.
Yes, we want to hear from you.
It was brought to my attention that there is going to be some sort of confrontation between the TERFs, which stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist. They're going to be crashing the Philadelphia Trans Health Conference. So is this going to be some sort of scene from West Side Story where the Jets and the Shark actually have it out? I mean, seriously, what's going on with our world? I mean, it's, we all realize that we all just want to live in peace, enjoy life, have a little place in our world that we could call our own, and just coexist with one another. The animals do it, why can't we?
Some people, they just are not happy unless there's drama in their life, unless there's fighting, hatred, and bigotry going on in some way or another. That's just the way some people operate, and
it's crazy. I mean, according to what I read, there is this radical feminist who is very unhappy that transgender females are invading their space. So I guess what they're doing is returning the favor. Now, I watched a little clip of a video yesterday that shared how these feminists feel. They feel that trans women cannot speak for real women because they were not raised as. And, I mean, it's just this whole... And, you got to respect each person's...
I can't say that I blame them because, I mean, come on, look at a lot of how things go with trans women. It's like the delusion. When I was a little girl, well, no, hello, again, I'm going to say it again like I always say it. You were never a little girl. You were a little boy. You transitioned to become a woman. Now you are presenting and living as a woman. Does not mean you are going to have the same rights that every other woman in this world does, right. Or that anybody's going to accept or see you as that woman that you think that you are. If you're proud to be who you are, that you're different, you don't conform to the normal gender binary, then that's fine. Go with that. But don't sit there and try to convince everybody otherwise, because you're going to look like an idiot.
And I think that's what rubs people the wrong way, because they look at us as deceivers. And, to say to a woman who has actually gone through the whole 9 yards of what womanhood is all about, that they have the same exact, what's the word I'm looking for, rights as a woman, and they are a woman, whatever. I mean, it can rub somebody the wrong way.
Right. Exactly.
I never claimed to be a real man because I was not socialized as one, did not have my rite of passage as one, and I'm a trans guy. Simple as that.
It doesn't matter. We're experiencing life on both sides of the fence.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. If you can be realistic enough to realize that you're a gender nonconformist,
yep.
You're not a actual gender. So yes, do we want the world to perceive us as women or men outside of our birth gender? Sure. That's why we go through the name changes. That's why we go through the gender marker changes on the driver's license. That's why we go to doctors and have them give us, our surgeries. Why? So we can feel ourselves more like that gender we best associate with. But unfortunately, not the entire world is going to see us as we want them to see us. So we have to be okay with that as well.
Yeah.
And stop pushing the fact that we are women. Well, technically, in reality, in the real world, we are not women. We are trans women and trans men. So that's just my personal JMHO, just my honest opinion.
And you guys are welcome to call in with your opinion, and we have this wonderful platform for you to call in and voice your voices, your thoughts, and I guess it's easier to badger people on Facebook and write comments in the comment section than it is to call in with.
Oh, and God knows, half these people that badger and do this shit on Facebook would not do it in person.
Oh, no.
So, it is what it is.
It's crazy because it's like no one's safe nowadays. Really, no one's safe. Last week we touched a little bit upon RuPaul's Drag Race, and we wanted to, kind of follow up a little bit on the saga.
And Logo's reaction and what they actually did, because we didn't get to get it out. But here's what they had to say. Logo TV has announced that RuPaul's Drag Race will no longer include the long-running segment You've Got She-Male, apologizing for the show's insensitivity and removing a transphobic episode from the show's online archives.
Logo issued a follow-up statement which detailed the course of action. We wanted to thank the community for sharing their concerns around a recent segment and the use of the term she-male on Drag Race. The statement begins, Logo has pulled the episode from all of our platforms, and that challenge will no longer appear again. Furthermore, we are removing the You've Got She-Male intro from the new episodes of the series. We did not intend to cause any offense, but in retrospect, we realized that it was insensitive. We sincerely apologize.
And my question is, why in the hell? Drag queens are part of the transgender umbrella. They fall underneath that umbrella. So why in the world would they not be able to utilize those terms? Why? Because they're utilizing those terms. It makes anybody that goes through the transition any less of what they feel they are? No.
It's crazy because when I used to do seminars back in the day, educating doctors, nurses, and individuals that had no clue about what transgender was all about, and part of my PowerPoint presentation was to point out the transgender umbrella. And in that transgender umbrella, you've got cross-dressers, drag queens, genderqueer, individuals that identify as some sort of gender bending or some sort of nonconformist. Exactly.
Again.
So I don't understand why all of a sudden there are these people in the fundamentalist group that are trying to tell everybody what transgender is all about. No two transgender are the same. There is no one true definition of transgender, transsexual. They're just individuals that are born differently from everybody else and are trying to express themselves the way they see fit.
I consider myself to be a gender rebel. Yeah. I rebel against what everyone claimed to think I used to be, because that's not what I was.
Exactly.
So, you know, I mean, at least that's not the way that I felt. So I consider myself a gender rebel, because I'm kind of rebelling against the gender binary, let's say.
Yeah, so to wrap up the thing with Local, they apologized because they felt they had to. You know, it's like these individuals in the political arena, such as GLAAD and all these others, are pushing Hollywood to conform, to set rules, and that's not right.
I mean, I'm sorry, but, you know, you can sit there and try to eradicate a word from the English language, and do you think for 1 second that, let's say, for instance, they take away everybody's gun that's law-abiding and everything like that, do you think that's still going to stop criminals from going out and shooting innocent people with a gun? No.
Not at all.
So if you take and you try to eliminate that word from the English language, do you think that that word's never going to be heard of again? No, because if somebody's going to use that word, they're going to use that word. And there's no law that's going to prevent them from doing so.
No, and all that's going to happen is Hollywood is just going to look at us as a bunch of crybabies, and whatever opportunities that feature trans actors and individuals that are in the entertainment industry, we're not going to be given a chance, because we're going to be looked at as troublemaker. They're going to worry about, hey, do we have to tiptoe through or walk through eggshells to, you know, people don't want that. People want to be able to feel comfortable around people. The thing with, what's her name, Laverne Cox, the Time did not recognize her. Gee, I wonder why.
She's one of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
Trying to advocate for this word that has no meaning.
Right, or to have people realize that they were never
making
born in the actual gender that they were born in.
No.
You know, we are transgender, you know, and that's, I guess we could read a little bit of this letter, or actually commonly came from one of the articles. The individual says, you know, that there seems to be a consensus that the T needs to be dropped from the LGB. And I say, do you blame them? You know, who wants to have a bunch of overly sensitive players who do nothing but whine about words and how they want to be seen?
And here is a comment that caught my eye. For me, it is ridiculous to apologize for something that was said without any intention of harming anybody. It is part of the humor of the show. If a person like RuPaul calls me fag, I would laugh at it. Nobody has fought for the LGBT community like him. On the other hand, if a straight person calls me that, I would be very offended.
We need to enjoy the fun part of a joke without taking it very personal. Life is too short. Enjoy it and laugh at ourselves. My respects to RuPaul. These girls should not have been in the RuPaul's Drag Race in the first place if they made the decision to become transgender because they felt like that during the shooting of the show, even without any treatment yet, and just because transgender is how you feel, not how you look.
That show is for drag queens, and its name is very specific about it. I can even remember Carmen Carrera and Monica Beverly Hills laughing every time RuPaul announced the segment of You've Got Shemale. Back then, that was fun for them, right? Why that sudden change? Just for the pleasure of biting the hand of who fed you and made you famous.
And I hope they won't be participating in any more of the cruises, tours, and events the show is always promoting. If they call themselves transgender, they must get on their new lives and don't be opportunistic making money out of drag. That is not their world anymore. Transgender is a term used to describe people who may act, feel, think, or look different from the gender that they were assigned by society based on their sex.
And so embrace your identity. Act like ladies and forget about your former gay lifestyle. Otherwise, you may have psychological issues. And we totally agree. I think that, you know, if all these people have such a problem with the word tranny and shemale, then they need to go hang out in heterosexual places and stay the hell out of the LGBT.
Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, you know, if that's the way you feel, then because, sorry, drag culture has been around a lot longer than most of us.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. And, you know, how dare we tell them what words they can and cannot use? They're part of the community.
Absolutely.
You know, they have just the same rights. It's not male cis privileges and other stuff that they try to put forward.
Absolutely. I think that, you know, everybody has a right to, especially if you break outside the gender norm, that you have the ability to voice how you feel about that specific word. Even if some heterosexual cisgender person calls me a faggot, tranny, female, you think that's going to bother me? No. It's not going to bother me, because you know what? If that's the case, if that's the way they're seeing me, then I'm not doing something right.
Yeah.
So...
And RuPaul was not the only one that has been harassed. There was also
Jane County, transgender icon, allegedly banned from Facebook for transphobic slurs, following a week of controversy surrounding language and its use against and in the transgender and drag communities. Transgender icon Jane County claims to have found herself banned from Facebook for using words that some activists have stated are transphobic. Jane County, hailed as one of rock and roll's first gender variant icons and a fixture in the Andy Warhol factory scene, posted a Facebook status on Tuesday that contained the words she-male and tranny.
In response, Facebook reportedly banned the icon for 24 hours. County did not take the regulation of her words choice lightly. Jane commented, and reads as follows: I cannot support trans activist suppression of free speech, even threatening newspapers not to print alternative viewpoints. I have read about such things happening in Nazi Germany in the 30s, but never would I have ever dreamed that it would come from my own people. The right to take away another human being's right? What a sad day this is for the poor LGBT community.
All over a few words that have been made even more powerful and evil by those that seek to erase them. If this is what you are going to do with your rights, then you don't deserve to even have them. I no longer support trans rights. I do not support fascism from anyone. You have lost Jane County as a supporter. You are now the enemy.
Everyone, please make a copy of this to keep and post on your wall, as this will probably be censored. That's what she wrote. She'll probably be banned again for agreeing with trans activists who seek to destroy all those who disagree with them. Sincerely, Wayne, Jane County.
Over the course of the past week, conversations surrounding the words tranny and she-male, and if they should ever be used, and if so, by whom, have rocketed into the mainstream. This occurred after popular reality show RuPaul's Drag Race announced it would be removing a long-standing portion of their show that used to phrase she-male, M-A-I-L, not M-A-L-E, when it came under fire from some transgender activists who claim the word is derogatory.
Several former Drag Race contestants who identify as trans also spoke against the use of the word on the show. However, as evidenced by County's statement and response from other trans women, including singer-songwriter Our Lady J and musician and New York City nightlife icon Justin Vivian Bond, the transgender community has many differing opinions regarding the use and policing of these words.
It appears that no celebrity is safe from the fundamentalist trans community. Ellen DeGeneres faces the wrath of the transgender community. What a bunch of bullshit. Anyway, the fact that leftist organizations have no sense of humor regarding any comments made by conservatives is hardly a shocking revelation. Increasingly, however, those once heralded as heroes of the progressive movement are coming under fire by those extremists.
One recent example of this phenomenon came in response to Sunday night's Oscar ceremony. Despite high ratings and generally well-received performances by host Ellen DeGeneres, advocates for the transgender community focused on one joke in particular, through which they castigated the lesbian entertainer as transphobic. Honorable actress Liza Minnelli, an icon among many American cross-dressers, was in the audience, prompting the criticized joke by DeGeneres.
The job of an Oscar host, after all, is to provide a healthy dose of humor during the lengthy awards program. Hello to the best Liza Minnelli impersonator I've ever seen, she said. Good job, sir. Director Bruce LaBruce led the charge against her with a Twitter response calling the joke transphobic and disrespectful. Other social media responses included similarly odd charges, including the assertion that DeGeneres is a trans misogynist.
Fuck you, Bridian, and I know you mentioned this earlier. Well, wasn't the Liza impersonator a sir?
Well, hello. Key word here is Liza Minnelli impersonator, which means that the person is impersonating that of a female icon, which means that person identifies as male. So therefore, congratulating him on his decision and his portrayal of Liza Minnelli was good job, sir.
I know, but the trans community has to take everything to heart and for themselves and create everybody as demons.
Oh my God, they called her sir. Well, it's not a her, it's a him.
I know.
You guys are so fucking delusional, I'm sorry.
I know, it's crazy. It's becoming more and more difficult in America, current social climate, to keep track of the countless ways traditional and even not so traditional citizens can ostensibly offend entire communities. Of course, the backlash against DeGeneres is nothing new. In fact, transgender activists were similarly incensed that actor Jared Leto dared to address the growing unrest in the Ukraine during his acceptance speech instead of paying the homage to the supposed plight of the gender confused.
Comedian Liz Winstead said during an say that 3 times fast, MSNBC interview that the actor should have voiced support for an invisible community that needs an advocate, adding that the trans community is there. Wait a minute. Am I incorrect here? Did everybody in the community tear Jared Leto apart because of his betrayal of Rhea and Dallas Buyers Club?
And because he didn't thank the trans community for...
Well, why should he thank them when they're tearing them down? Let me kick you in your ass and thank you for kicking me in my ass.
No, but even before that, it's like, why should an actor playing a role... So now, an actor playing the role of a blind person has to thank every blind person for being blind. And, it's like our community.
Well, not even that. It's like, okay, what is this going to be? Should they have thanked the trans community for allowing him to portray a transsexual?
Yeah, so please, fighting one.
I'd like to thank the trans community for allowing me to play this role. Fuck you. Sorry, but anyway, host Ronan Farrow apparently agreed, calling the omission a missed opportunity. In recent weeks, a number of other leftist celebrities, including Piers Morgan and Katie Couric, have come under fire for offending the transgender population, while blatant discrimination is and should be discouraged in our nation. The fact is that certain communities do their own cause a disservice by prying foul whenever someone offers an opinion with which they disagree, such as, I was born a baby, not a boy! Or, how dare you ask me about my genitals? Well, I'm sorry, if you're going to claim you're a fierce fucking advocate, and yes, I'm using very foul language, I don't care. But if you're going to claim to be a fierce advocate, then you better be willing to talk about your past and fulfill the curious minds of those interested in finding out about it. That is how you advocate.
Exactly.
Not by trying to piss and moan at people because they asked you about your past. Because you were born a boy. You were named something else that was not of a feminine name. You did not play with dolls, and you were not a little girl. So get the hell over it.
And if you don't want to talk about these things, don't write a book.
Then don't be an advocate.
Yeah, and stay stealth. Don't be an advocate.
Don't be an advocate and stay at home behind your computer keyboard bitching at everybody else.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you right now, you're doing no justice. And it said it blatantly right there. You are doing a huge disservice to everyone else in the community. Get that through your head. Everyone else is going to suffer because of your disservices.
Well, these individuals listed in this article have each been outspoken advocates for transgender people. However, their respective pasts were effectively dismissed upon making a comment or joke that did not fall perfectly in line with the group's approved talking points. The trans supporters, whether based on their oversensitivity or a desire to be identified as a downtrodden minority, only makes one's cause more unappealing to other potential supporters. And this is what I've been saying all along. We're going to scare away everybody. No one's going to want to support us.
Exactly.
We'll lose all our allies.
Well, see, I think this whole thing about, Parker, Molly, whatever the hell her name is, I don't even remember. I mean, these younger advocates and these people just popping up with no experience being advocates, or, if you want to come out and advocate sharing your experiences and telling your story, that's one thing. But don't sit there and bash everybody that is trying to understand us. I think that what's happening here is that the real true trans advocates that have done so much for this community, that have gotten most of us to where we are today, now it's these new advocates that are coming out, and they have a different agenda. I think they're trying to push out these true advocates, such as Buck Angel, Calpurnia Adams, Andrea James, these other people that have been doing advocating for many, many years.
I consider myself,
yourself included.
Yeah, I've been that.
I mean, you've been out there.
Since 2004, and
exactly. But I think what's happening is they're trying to step up against the old advocates, and they're trying to push them out because these advocates don't fit the appropriate age group or color of their advocating agenda.
They have an anger campaign, a total anger campaign, and that's something that's going to lead us to the abyss, and I've been saying that time and time again.
And personally, I think Parker should just stick to what she knows and continue advocating for SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yep.
Because I'm sure she would make a hell of a movement for that cause.
Yes.
So, anyway, now to the shame on you section of our show, which is, there's an article that was written by Michelle Spicer called Baby Trannies. Very soothing. There is a lot of fur flying in the transgender community about the word tranny. Some fervently agree with taking our power back by taking the word for ourselves, while others want the word banned from the English language. There does not seem to be too many people in between, but I do suspect there are a lot of people who do not give a shit, or give a shit even less because they are cisgender and put off by the flamethrower action like the Kim Jong-il in North Korea.
But where is this all coming from? Where is the fervor, the rage, the pure hate coming from? It has been my experience that the loudest and most aggressive transgender people, the ones advocating for the good of all as if it were their calling right out of the gate, ladies and gentlemen, I give you baby trannies. Now I'm basing this particular classification on the True Blood style.
That is to say that in the program True Blood, which is on HBO, which is a good show, brand new vampires can go crazy and not be able to control themselves. Does this sound familiar? Hence, they were called baby vamps. They were not full-fledged vampires for quite some time. I believe the same to be true for baby trannies, and anyone who has been on hormones for less than 2 years qualifies. Baby trannies, I believe, are in a large part responsible for all the rhetoric, name-calling, name-blaming, and tranny-shaming that is going on in the transgender world today.
All the while, cisgender spectators watch and wonder what the heck a transgender person actually is all about. There is a trans woman in my city who decided to just undergo the orchiectomy option for her surgery, which is all fine and good until someone said she might not be trans because she did not get the full bottom surgery. Since then, she has gone on a one-woman crusade touting the banner, Woman with a Penis, wherever she goes.
Sadly, she has been on local radio twice with her ridiculous banter, not only confusing the general public, but a boy I was dating at the time as well. He got all confused, and I have never heard from him again. Thanks, Woman with a Penis, i.e. baby tranny with a vendetta. Baby trannies and fierce rhetoric go hand in hand, and it's out of control. You have to get a handle on this, people. Get some experience before you start shooting your mouth off about what the transgender community is and is not.
Look up the girls that have gone before you. They have all kinds of love and wisdom to give. However, like teenagers, baby trannies know it all and can tell you how it is.
So make sure to check out the blog at shameonyou2014.blogspot.com for some really interesting and controversial articles. And if there is something you want to report and have us talk about, make sure to fill in the form provided on our Shame on You blog.
We got 10 seconds for the live segment, and after that, it's going to go in recording mode. We have a few more things to say. For those of you listening live, you can watch on demand or actually listen to on demand in around 15 minutes. The whole show will be on. Well, we're on the road, and we've been different states on our journey. If you're interested in having us perform our music, provide your place of work, school, or organization with sensible and no drama sensitivity training and education regarding trans issues, please contact us at transitionradioshow@gmail.com. Again, transitionradioshow@gmail.com. We've got this Thursday coming up.
Madison Hinton.
Yes, and
she is also not offended by the word tranny.
That's right.
Or shemale, because her view on the topic is that if people are calling you a tranny and a shemale, then that's what you are.
Yeah. And she's definitely an amazing entrepreneur, an adult entertainment actress, I guess you could say, or whatever.
She's in the adult entertainment industry.
Yeah.
She's also in the music industry.
She makes shirts. She does. I mean, the woman does it all.
She's amazing.
Amazing.
And she's freaking hysterical. She will have you pissing yourself by.
Yes.
Within the first 5 minutes, I'm sure, because the first 5 minutes of the video I saw of her, I was rolling on the floor dying.
Yes. So, guys, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to watch the show on Thursday. Anything else you have to say? Sorry for the background noise. The weather is so depressing. It's been cloudy and...
rain and thunder. Oh, my.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's...
Welcome to the East Coast world.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, we love you.
So remember to always love yourselves, too. Good night.